Over the past couple of years, people have been constantly in our comments and on Twitter and whatnot saying it's time for the fans to boycott the Seattle Mariners. Stop going to games. Stop spending money. And that got me thinking, should we actually stop spending money on the Seattle Mariners? Now, I'll answer that at the very end of this question if I think that we should, because I think it's a little bit more nuanced than just yes or no. I think there's a lot more to it than just, yeah, stop spending money and things are going to get better. And so I want to talk about that a little bit in this video. The reasoning behind this, and this has mainly been the last two off seasons, mind you. So after 2022, when the Mariners did not go all in on like one of the big name shortstops or what have you, or last off season, obviously without Shohei Ohtani, this year guys like Juan Soto, etc. Pete Alonso is kind of the one that is really standing out for everyone right now. Should the Mariners spend money? Yes. The Mariners should be spending money to make this team better. It is something that has been said for years. John Stanton, Chris Larson, the ownership group sucks. They're horrible. They are the Mariners, unfortunately, are one of the worst ran teams in terms of ownership in all of Major League Baseball. Seattle has such a brilliant opportunity right now, especially coming off of the 2022 playoff run, coming off of a few years where they had a chance to make the playoffs, but they didn't spend the money to get there and didn't make the moves necessary. They have such a good opportunity where the Mariners are the only team in the Northwest. The next closest team is now Sacramento, the formerly known as the Oakland Athletics. The Mariners have such an opportunity for Idaho, Oregon, etc., where they just literally own this little corner of the United States. Whereas California is split between 5 different teams, the Mariners, if they just were good, they would have one of the biggest fan bases in all of baseball. It seems pretty simple, right? I think Ty Dane Gonzalez said it best. Let's pull up his tweet here really quick. Now, specifically, Ty posted this about Pete Alonso, but I think it rings true for everything that we're talking about here. So if the Mariners were to sign Pete Alonso, Ty says not only would the Mariners land one of the best free agents available, address a position of need, significantly bolster the middle of their lineup, raise their ceiling substantially, and change the AL West picture, but they would also somewhat flip the narrative surrounding the team, land one of the more easily marketable players left on the market, earn some much needed goodwill with the fan base, get more people excited about the ball club and re-energize fans who've lost interest, sell more tickets to get more national TV opportunities, meaning more money, and make Ty Dane Gonzalez happy, most importantly. I agree. Anytime Ty is happy, things are just better. I think that it is so asinine of Mariners ownership to think that if they just get this close to making the playoffs while still not having to spend much money, that fans are going to continue to come to the ballpark and people are going to want to continue to spend the money. And that's not even talking about the prices that have been raising throughout through the stadium, the Flex membership. So I've been a Flex member since 2020 and I canceled it this year. Not because I'm not going to be going to games. I'm not going to be boycotting going to the Seattle Mariners and going to T-Mobile Park. I just cannot justify the fact that originally the Flex membership cost for the rookie level membership was $600, okay? And that is as many games as you can get for $600. That's what you've got. You got the discounts, you're technically a season ticket member, etc., etc. In 2025, they raised those prices again every single year. Since the Flex membership became a thing, they have raised the prices. In 2025, the rookie level membership is now $1,100. It has almost doubled what it was when it first came out just a couple of years ago. Meanwhile, you can get into every single Diamondbacks home game for $299. Literally half the price of what the original rookie membership was costing people. I'm sure that it is like a standing room only ticket or something like that. Who cares? You're getting into the ballpark. That is one of the best deals in all of baseball. And they played in the World Series 2 years ago. The Mariners are constantly raising prices. John Stanton and Chris Larson, frankly, they're pieces of shit. And because of that, I think that the people that are saying that that fans should stop spending money on the Mariners, your voice is heard. Your voice is completely valid. And I think that there are some people that have, over the past few years, stopped going to games. In fact, let me know in the comments down below if you have just stopped spending money on this team. Now, with that being said, we may be done spending money on the Seattle Mariners, but you guys could spend money on us. Joe and I, we are trying to raise $5,000 to go to spring training and bring that coverage to you guys. Maybe this isn't the right video to talk about this in, but I'm going to do it anyway. We have a GoFundMe link down below, and if we reach that $5,000 threshold, I'm going to get a Mariners themed tattoo. I don't have any tattoos, so I'm kind of afraid of needles. So, yeah, that'd be fun. But we want to bring you the best coverage possible. This would cover our expenses, including travel, including the hotel, including renting the car. It comes out to right around $5,000 or so. If we're able to raise that, Joe and I are going to have some really cool things planned for you guys in the future. So just keep that in mind. If you do have the means, please donate to us down below in the GoFundMe page. All right, now that we got the shameless plug out of the way, let's keep going. I think that for me specifically, now I just told you guys about how I'm going to be in spring training for a month, right? This is not my full-time job. So what I'm doing right now, this is not my full-time job. I do work retail, just trying to cover other expenses like health insurance and whatnot. But going to spring training for a month for me is a little different than going to spring training for like a casual fan, someone who's going just to experience and whatnot. Then you probably only need to go for like a week or something like that. So it's a little bit different in terms of me, a guy who covers the team for a living, basically, telling people to not spend money on the team. Obviously, I'm not going to say, hey, stop going, because the less people that care about the Mariners, the less people that care about our channel. And frankly, I would love for our channel to grow. It's a hard scenario to follow, because when the Mariners do well, our channel does well. So I think that me specifically, maybe it's a little bit selfish. I want them to spend money. I want them to make this team better, because in turn, that helps me and Joe grow our passion, what we want to do, basically, when we grow up. So, like I said, I canceled my Flex membership, my season ticket membership this year. But I am not going to stop going to Mariners games, and I don't think you should either. However, I do think that all of us should stop spending as much money at Mariners games. We all know that a beer costs like, what, $15, $16. We all know if you want to get like chicken strips, another $13 or something like that. There is a way to go to Mariners games for $30 or less. And I have that video coming out as we get closer to the beginning of the season. I think it's a couple days before opening day. But just a little peek inside of where my thinking is there. If you take the light rail, okay, so that's what, $3 one way. Take the light rail, go in, and maybe bring some food. Instead of getting food at the ballpark because you know you're going to be overcharged, bring some food in. Get one of the worst seats possible, like the $15 like center field bleacher seats, and then just walk around the ballpark. You are still getting to go experience the game. Because for me specifically, I like T-Mobile Park is my happy place. There's nowhere else in the world that I am happier than when I'm at T-Mobile Park. Even if the Mariners are playing like crap, it's still my favorite place to be. And even when the team is bad. But I can't justify anymore spending, $100 every time I go to a game, between parking and between getting food and beer and whatnot. Occasionally, sure. I think occasionally it's always good to have that experience of just, what it used to be like to go to a game where you could afford everything. But the amount of money I've spent on Mariners merchandise over the past couple years has gone down greatly. The amount of money that I spent last year specifically on tickets was so much less than it was in years prior, because it's just, the team just doesn't deserve it. And when they keep raising the prices, it makes it harder for everyday people to get to go to games. Now, again, I think that it is on everyone's mind about boycotting the team. Stop no longer spending money on this team. And I think it's completely justified, but I don't think that a boycott would fix anything, in my opinion. The owners are going to be cheap no matter what happens. And if less people go to the game, then they might even use that as an excuse to spend even less money. And we saw it with the Oakland Athletics. Obviously, they're moving to Sacramento now. Nobody was going to the games anymore. What were their average attendance numbers? Like 5,000 people at a game. John Fisher didn't sell the team. He moved the team. And he said, okay, well, you guys aren't coming to games. Sorry, we're no longer going to be here then. I think that there's a lot more nuance to it than trying to get John Stanton and all them to sell the team by boycotting the games. But I do think that there is a way for it to be mutually beneficial, where we all stop going to games, or not stop going to games. We all stop spending as much money at games, but we don't stop going to games, because in the end, I think if you're here watching this video, you love the Seattle Mariners as much as I do. And as much as I want to say, oh, I'm not going to watch this team anymore because they don't make any big moves, blah, 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 I'll still be watching on opening day no matter what. And I think that it's hard to have an honest conversation about where all of our heads are at with this team right now because, frankly, the team is not good. And I will not be shocked if the team finishes third or fourth in division in 2025 because they have not made the moves. Now, there's still time for that to change. Obviously, a Pete Alonso signing would greatly change the course of this offseason, but the Mariners have been outspent by every single team in this division so far this offseason when they were one game short of the playoffs again. Until they pull their heads out of their asses, this team does not deserve the amount of money that we're spending on them. So should you stop spending money on the Seattle Mariners? I think you should stop spending as much money on the Seattle Mariners. But if you're like me and T-Mobile Park is your happy place, then you can still go. But you are not spending as much money as you were before if you get those worst tickets out there in center field. That's just my 2 cents on the subject. I'd like to hear a civilized opinion from you guys down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys watching this one, and go Mariners.